Coaches, welcome to Championship Culture. Got a fantastic guest tonight. Jerome Rhodes is the head football coach. You got to get this is the best high school name I've ever heard. Warhill High School in Virginia, and they are the Warhill Lions. You hit a home run on that, Coach. And he's a second-year head coach, or second year as the head football coach there. And, buddy, I sure appreciate you joining us today, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Well, let's jump into it. First question, can you give a 1-minute elevator introduction of yourself?
Yeah, name is Jerome Rhodes. Originally from Ohio. Before I left Ohio, I came to after I left Ohio, I came to Virginia. Joined the Army. I was in there for 3 years, and as soon as I got out of the Army, I got a job as a teacher and a coach at a school called Woodside, and I was there for 15 years. 3 years as an assistant defensive back coach, and then I got the job as a defensive coordinator, and I did that for the next 12 years for them. And then after that, I got the job here at Warhill, which is about 20 minutes up the road from Woodside. Had a few accomplishments there at Woodside, helped to bring that program up to where it is right now with legendary coach Danny Dodson. He's been there for over 20 years, just under the dean of football for us in this area is Mike Smith at Hampton High School. But had the opportunity to play against some really great coaches in the late Dean and Mike Smith. Those guys learned a lot from them. Made me better as a coach just playing against those guys because they, of course, if you're not careful, they can catch you. Really quickly. But yeah, that's my story. I'm married with 4 children. I got a daughter and a grandson now. Actually, 2 of them. Said no. And my son, he's a senior this year and playing for me now at Warhill. Had to move over from the defensive side of the ball to play offense because of his shoulder. So that's been an experience. But yes, that's me in a nutshell. I love coaching football. Love coaching kids. So great opportunity for me, and I'm blessed.
Well, tell us how awesome it is to coach your son, especially his senior year.
It's sort of bittersweet because a coach's kid, when you have a son, they're around you ever since when they start walking. They follow you into the coach's meetings, they follow you into the coach's office. I mean, they're right there with you anytime you're staying after. I mean, we've done camps outside of our city, and we spent a couple days away. And my son was right there with me. We had camps right there in the inside the school. He's spending the night right there next to me. So it was funny to have him. It was a unique situation to have him as a player. He finally joined the team as an 8th grader, played JV, and he was on JV for 2 years at Woodside. And then I got the job here at Warhill. He followed me up here, and he started sooner than I would like to have started. But we were in a situation at Woodside where we had some injuries, and he stepped right in as a sophomore, and it actually paid dividends when he got a starting position for the school I'm at right now, Warhill. And he actually became one of the leaders in the secondary. But yeah, I'm really impressed with not just his play, but his toughness because he suffered some injuries and he's still out there playing. And I'm really proud of him for that. Even though we only had, we just finished our regular season, a 5-game season, due to the circumstance. I'm really proud of what he's accomplished as a son and as a player.
Well, I know you're blessed in that, and I know that has to be so special to be able to coach your son. And we're the same as you now. We're on the Virginia plan, so we're playing ball right now. You guys just finished up your regular season. We've got 2 more weeks, and then hopefully playoffs after that. So we're in the same boat. It's been a strange experience, but just thank the Lord we've got to play. And
yeah,
you're also,
that.
Go ahead.
How many games were you able to play, Coach?
We got to do 7 regular season, and then I think there'll be 4 rounds in the playoffs. So So it wasn't it was abbreviated, but not near as much as some folks. You're also in the Williamsburg area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Which is, if anyone doesn't know, is absolutely gorgeous area of Virginia. We used to go up there to Busch Gardens all the time, and
Mm.
always loved that area up there. So I sure appreciate you doing this, man. So let's jump in. Question number two: how do you define culture in your program?
You know, I've learned to keep things really simple. I taught, um, and we have an SO, standard of learning. I taught geography for 15 years, and I've learned to keep things less difficult. And when you're trying to establish a culture, it has to be, of course, emphasized. Um, but that's kind of what what I've tried to establish here is keep it really, really simple for us and understanding what we're trying to get accomplished. Culture is basically emphasizing, what's important for your program. And for us, it's effort, it's honor, and it's ownership. So we emphasize those things. Um, you know, Unfortunately, I was my off season was taken from me, so I wasn't able to necessarily dive in as hard as I wanted to and reestablishing some things that were going right and establishing some things that I wanted to make sure was emphasized in what I hold as valuable to me. And that is, giving, maximum effort. I wanted to make sure my kids, when I first walked in the door, that when I said something, okay, if I said, listen, I want you guys to work hard. Well, what does that mean to anybody? Work hard. That's in relative to what, in reference to what. So if I told them to work hard, I said, did you outwork yourself from yesterday? Did you outwork yourself from last week? Every single day, okay, that effort that we're talking about, it's got to be 100%. So, and I've had coaches on the staff before, and I had to correct that, not just with coaches but kids, and say, look, you should be giving, 110%. I said, no, that's not right. You can't, because if you give 110%, that means you've been giving me 90, and I just need 100%. That's all you got. And when I tell you to work hard, that means that you've outworked yourself from the previous day. The other thing about, when I wanted to spend extra time on emphasizing was honor. And I can't separate that I'm a Christian. I believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I do believe in honoring Him in everything that I do. Um, and I don't try to proselytize to my kids. I just tell them, I say, look, this is just part of me. This is who I am. So I can't take that away. So, when we are followers, of Christ, we try to make the right decisions. We try to live to please Him. Sometimes we mess up. Sometimes and that's just who we are as humans. But I tell my kids, I say, listen, in every decision that you make sure that you honor the game, team, and family. Right? Think about that. When you decide to make a decision in your life, as it pertains to anything, when if it doesn't honor the game, which we all love and appreciate, this team, and what we stand for, or your family, then you're making the wrong decision. Use these things as a guiding principle to make the choices that will benefit and not hurt you. So we also preach ownership. Um, it is extremely important, and I've got a team, and Coach Salas, so I got a team right now. Okay, I've got 24 freshmen and 8 seniors right now. So leadership is very, it's few and far between right now with what I have as seniors. I lost a lot of seniors due to COVID. Um, you know, them opting out and just having some really serious struggles that we're still trying to help them with. I mean, I know a lot of people don't understand how this has affected the athlete. Guys that have done, you know, played sports and football ever since they were 6 years old, and then to have it just, not be available to them, it really struck a lot of our kids hard. So now, I've got a team where I have 24 freshmen, very good. Um, five of them are starting right now because of we don't have as many seniors and juniors. So it's very important for me to emphasize ownership. Now, usually they get a manual when they come in, and they actually got handed one. But when they came in as eighth graders and rising ninth graders, they were only in there for 2 days before we had to, disband. We had to stop. And this is something that's part of their pamphlet is the ownership part we spend a lot of time on is, they have to understand that no one, that values you is going to accept excuses from you. Okay. Your wife won't when you get one. Uh, your kids won't. They won't accept excuses. They're not going to tell you, but they're not going to accept excuses from you. Your employer won't. Um, so you're not going to get that here. You've got to take ownership over, mistakes that you make. Otherwise, you'll never experience the future growth that you can have in the mistake that you made if you don't take ownership. There's a lot of growth to be had, in a mistake. But if you don't take ownership for it, and you don't accept responsibility for it, you're never growing. You'll never ever grow. So we tell our young guys and part of the team, like the entire team, is to take ownership. There's no excuses here. You're going to mess up, and the first one that knows you messed up is you. We don't need to beat you down for it. You just got to accept your role, your responsibility, and owning that mistake. You know, and we'll move forward from it. If I cannot, as a coach, emphasize, and tell kids, listen, we have got to play the next play because if we don't look forward, we don't move forward, and we're looking back at the next play, we know that can destroy the game. It can destroy that play if we keep looking back. So we're going to keep moving forward. I'm not going to keep beating you down for a mistake that you made and you take ownership of it. You did the right thing. Now I know this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, coach, but it makes sense to me. I say, listen, if you were wrong and you right that wrong by owning it, to me you're right. I'm not gonna sit here and harp on it. But if you're wrong, know you're wrong, continue to do wrong, then now we got a serious problem. You are wrong. And it is my responsibility to move you out, because that is going to affect me as a coach, and it's going to affect this entire team. So effort, honor, and ownership, that's what we emphasize. That's what we value at Warhill.
Coach, that's fantastic, man. That's one of the most beautiful ways I've ever heard it broken down, common sense and deep. As far as that stuff, kids are going to be able to take with them forever, and a guiding path to live their life by. That was absolutely fantastic. I got I got a page full of notes already, and we have only got two questions so far. Uh, so let's keep moving. Which I love. I love that max effort and outwork yourself yesterday. I mean, there's no better way of saying it. Question number three. Uh, what are the three best things you do to build culture in your program?
Yeah, it really stems from one thing. As coaches, of course, we value this. It's emphasizing. We want to make sure that we emphasize. We have to criticize and we highlight and reward. Okay, so the three things are those there. We want to emphasize, um, and if necessary, of course, we will criticize. Uh, we'll highlight and reward. That's what has to be prevalent in any program, is focusing on the things that are done the right way. And if it's done the right way, then we need to emphasize it, we need to highlight it, and we need to reward it. And that's kind of that's what we hold as valuable to us. Um, and it that's tied to, what I talked about earlier, um, in ownership. Um, but that's pretty much the one thing that I believe, excuse me, um, drives our culture, is to emphasize, of course, like I said, these values that we do hold, um, that we believe make our program better, is to emphasize, highlight, and reward. I did that in my classroom. I taught, like I said, I taught geography for 15 years, and I moved over into to PE, and now the advanced physical conditioning coach here at Warhill. But for 15 years, that was really what I learned in the classroom, and teaching, is to I got a better response. I got um, um, a better response from my kids. I got harder work from my kids when I focused on the things that they were doing right. I looked at the things that they were doing right, and I emphasized, all that they did right, highlighted and rewarded them for it. I mean, I couldn't. I remember one of my principals. It was my principal, came in my room and was wondering why all the kids' hands were raised, when I asked the question. Um, and it was just letting them understand, like, if you're here, I mean, the reason why you're here is to learn, right? I mean, I'm here to help you get there. Um, so the reason why you're in my class is because you don't really know all of this stuff. You don't know everything here, and you should want to, as a life learner, know more about whatever subject that it is that you're sitting in, whatever class you're sitting in. You can always learn a little bit more, and you should always, and the kids, you should always challenge your teachers. Ask questions. And they did. They asked questions. And what did I give them? I gave them a reward for asking questions. I need that challenge as a teacher. And they all just raised their hand because they wanted that. And it wasn't even something really big, but it was just emphasizing, highlighting and then rewarding them for, challenging me as a teacher. And then I could, do my responsibility, and help them grow as a student. So it really comes from the classroom. I just bring it over to coaching.
Uh, Man, that's fantastic. That's some of the best stuff I've ever heard. What how would you reward them? Talking about in the classroom back in the day, how would you reward them?
Then the classroom, I did it. It was a number of things. You know, the kids like little stickers. They like stickers. They like participation. I had a participation chart and a participation. They got participation points. I had candy and stuff for them every now and then. I would give them that, but it was the reward. It was something really small, but they appreciated it. But it really came from them. The highlight part. Like, um, look, Joey did a great job here. Look at this here. What he did. And I'm sure you guys all understand it. But if you don't, you can learn from Joey here. Joey, you get a participation point for that. So, and the kids really appreciate it. But it had to emphasize that, listen, although, because we're coaches and we like competition, it was, you had to make sure that it was healthy and it was cooperative, so that it wasn't really about, and I'm, getting jealous about Joey. Is that we can learn from each other, and made sure it was cooperative. So it was. Like I said, I just brought that over to the football field. Have little challenges and little rewards. And kids, they like little things, and they respond well to it.
Yeah, that's some of the best stuff I've ever heard, man. That's absolutely great. Uh, what were we on? We were on question number three. Is that right?
Yes.
So that was number one, and you said that's how you really build everything.
Yep.
All right. Do you have any other ones you want to share?
No, that would be it. I mean, that's what we focus on there. We feel like everything else stems from that.
Well, I'll tell you, between that and your core, what do you call those? The three, are those your core principles, core values? What do you call those?
Yeah, yeah. Those are our core values. That's it right there. Effort, honor, and ownership. That's it.
That's elite high level stuff, man. All right, so let's move on. Question number 4, and this should be a good one. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you first got started?
I got a when I first got started, um, I got advice from a really good football coach. Um, he was my old high school coach. Um, Coach Tom McDaniels. He coached at Kent McKinley. He got 2 state championships. I know he got a national championship or 2 in the '90s. And I think he got a state championship at Warren Harding. Um, he to me he's a coach among coaches. Um, and he gave some really good advice to me that I responded to but forgot. And that was, you know, that these are kids. Um, you have to keep that at the forefront, is that they're not always going to do things the way you want it done. But just remember, it's that they're kids. Um, but I forgot that for a moment, and and I'll never forget. And this is I'm telling myself this, that I always have to keep that in mind, and apologize when I don't do things. When I make a mistake, and I want to apologize to kids for it. So understanding that they're kids, I had a situation where I didn't talk to a kid the way that I should have talked to a kid. Um, and that's a regret of mine, but it was an opportunity that God gave me to settle that situation, because it was at the end of the season. We lost in the region championship, and kids would clean out their lockers, and he was the last one in there, and I was the last one as a coach. And I felt like God gave me that opportunity to go to him. And I did. I went to him and I told him, I said, I apologize because, I am an adult and you are, you're a kid, you're a child, and I should never talk to you the way I did. I don't care how mad I got. Even if you did mess it up, I should never talk to you that way. And the funny thing is, and this is why it's so impressed with kids, is he said, "Sorry, coach, you were mad." But I told him, I said, "No, that doesn't give me a right to do that." And he said, "I understand, but that's what kids. I mean, it wouldn't even allow me to sleep, but um, knowing if I already knew it, but I would want to keep that at the forefront of my mind, is that these are kids, um, and we want to make them men, but they're not quite there yet, and we shouldn't, you know, even though they may respond to us in a certain way, we should never ever respond to them as they're a man. They're still kids."
Again, coach, that's absolutely beautiful, and you were talking straight to me that time. I get a little carried away sometimes, and that's a great reminder, and especially as a man of faith, that's a great reminder. Uh, but I tell you what, now I'm so glad we did this. You are an impressive man, and Warhill is very lucky to have you, and your kids in your program are very lucky to have you. This has been absolutely elite level stuff that you've been sharing with us. Can you share your Twitter? I know you're on Twitter. Is there any other contact information? Can you share your Twitter and any other contact information you want? Because I guarantee you, there's going to be coaches that want to talk to you.
Yeah, it's a funny thing because I'm on Twitter. I like to connect. I don't even know my Twitter handle. I don't pass that thing out to any. I got to look it up.
Here, I
Uh,
got you. I got you right here.
all right.
Uh, Coach J_Rhodes.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Rhodes.
Yeah, yeah,
Coach
Coach.
J underscore Rhodes.
Yeah,
That's Twitter handle.
and my email is Jerome Jerome .Rhodes at wjccschools.org.
And I'll put both of those in the show notes so they'll be able to get up with you. But I guarantee you're going to want it. There's going to be coaches that want to talk to you. All right. So anything you want to promote or just you have the final word, coach. You've done such a great job. Just anything else you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, people can contact me. It's all right. This is my second year as a head coach at Warhill High, and we plan on making some things a little bit different for these kids. It's a bit of a challenge for them right now because we do have a monster in our own district that we have to find a way to compete with. But I've been there before, and with Coach Danny Dotson, we've had Phoebus and we've had Hampton, who were monsters. And I remember that Phoebus was on a 52-game win streak, and they were blowing guys out 40, putting up 40 points. But we ended up, beating them that 52-game win streak that they were on, which was the longest streak in the nation, and we beat them. We took them out and had them. They scored the least amount of points they had scored in 4 years. And they left out of there with 9 points. And we didn't have we had a no-name defense. None of our kids went. We actually had one kid that went to Towson, and he was a defensive back, but it was a bunch of no-name kids that just worked hard, played hard, and that's what I'm used to, coaching. And then grasping their intellect, giving them a higher IQ, helping them get a higher IQ for the football field, and playing with a passion and sacrifice. And what I would say, because people have to understand what we're talking about when we say sacrifice. And I tell my kids, when you play with a sacrificial spirit, that means that it doesn't come back. Whatever you sacrifice doesn't come back. If you cut your arm off, that sacrifice your arm, it ain't growing back. So I want you to remember that when you go make that block, it's a sacrificial block. It's one guy carrying the football, the other 10 of us are out there sacrificing. All right, and it doesn't come back. Don't do things with the expectation of a reward. Do it because it's a sacrifice, and we're all our brothers. And if we're given that effort, honor, and ownership, when we believe in it, you're not going to have a hard time giving yourself up for your fellow man. But this is that's certainly what I would like to emphasize to coaches. The same way it was emphasized to me is that these are kids, and it's our responsibility to grow them into the people that they're going to be the rest of their life. We want to make sure that these kids are able to be help out in their communities, be a great father to their children if they choose to have them, and a great husband to their wives if they choose to have them too. But it all starts with them, understanding what's valuable and the values of a man. That's our responsibility as a coach.
You did it again, man. That was fantastic. I'm going to use that. I'm going to share that with my team tomorrow. As a matter of fact, the whole what sacrifice really is. Man, you hit a home run. You're absolutely incredible. I'm so lucky that we bumped into each other on Twitter, and thank you so much for coming on here and sharing. I know you made a lot of people better tonight. Well, it'll be 2 weeks when people get to see this, but I'll tell you what, you made me better tonight. So I appreciate you coming on here and sharing how you do it and the way that you do it, because you're super impressive, man.
Hey, I appreciate you, Coach. You keep doing this here, contacting coaches, and this is really big for football, and for coaches. So what you're doing is, it's certainly a testament to who you are, and then pulling coaches on and kind of picking their brain. I take the opportunity to pick yours as well, because we can all learn a lot from each other if we keep our eyes open, our ears open there. We can learn a lot from each other. And I certainly appreciate you there, Coach. This is great. I hope you keep this up. Anything you need from me, Coach, just let me know. I will pass it on, whatever it is.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm probably going to invite you back to do some X's and O's, do some defense one day, because you have truly been impressive, and I really do appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you, Coach.